Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today, we're going to be playing with a deck list that I've kept in the queue for a very long time. So, ballpark, sometime around the beginning of January, Brett W. sent a donation for Ninja Tell, and this is the original deck list as they submitted it, maybe with some very minor changes that I made. The general idea was that you can combine Show and Tell with Emrakul to, like annihilate your opponent's permanents in the traditional way. Or you can use Yuriko's trigger, which says whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library, put it into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's mana value. So the idea was that, like, if you have a Yuriko trigger, in response to it, you can brainstorm, put an Emrakul on top, and deal your opponent 15, killing them in a single shot. Well, a day or two after this entered my queue, I saw a spoiler and went, this is in the spirit of the deck list. I'm going to wait until the next set comes out to record with this league. Because a new ninja, Satoru Umezawa, was spoiled. We're going to ignore the top part for right now. Bottom part says, each creature in your hand has ninjutsu 4. So that means if you have an unblocked creature, you can get a 4-mana Emrakul. And this kind of got my, brewing juices a-flowing, and I decided I was going to go and, put this into this deck. Brett, I apologize. I tried to reach out to you. You didn't have an email associated with your PayPal, so I couldn't contact you. So I just kind of made the executive decision that I was going to wait until the next set came out. So I was getting ready to record with this. It was Thursday, and on Friday, my friend Brian, aka Bosch and Roll, put out a video doing the same sort of thing, but instead opting to use Blightsteel Colossus instead. And so what I'm going to do here is kind of combine the ideas of my original donor and the list that Brian and presumably the folks in his Discord came up with, and I got a little bit of feedback from some people in my own Discord as well. So here's what we're going to try to do. We're going to play too many of this card. Okay, I think in the ninja's shell, this card is probably a little clunky, but we're going to try to lean into this and see how viable it is to get these kills. So here's the game plan. Here's how our Ninja Show and Tell deck is going to work. In game 1, we are going to try to play a ninja's game that has a Blightsteel Colossus kill. Infect damage means if your opponent takes 10 of it, they're just straight going to be dead. And there's not too many spells that answer this thing in Legacy, as it is indestructible. Nice prismatic ending, right? So Swords to Plowshares can answer this. Otherwise, this is pretty tough to answer. So in game 1, we're going to use things like Changeling Outcast to kind of get through, and then ninjutsu in things like Yuriko. And we're going to try to play this tempo-y game where I use free removal spells like Snuff Out to clear the way, and then get card advantage via things like Moon Circuit Hacker, which is a Pauper All-Star now, and Yuriko to get our card advantage. And sometimes we're going to have an oops, I win sort of thing that allows us to Blightsteel our opponent. Now, in the post-sideboard games, when more creature hate comes in, we are going to board in 4 Show and Tells, 4 Emrakuls, and the 4th copy of the Blightsteel, so that we can go and have a cheesy combo win that doesn't actually rely on these creatures once powerful sideboard hate cards like, say, Plague Engineer could come in against us. Is this a good idea? No, probably not. Am I going to do it? Yes, absolutely. Let's see if we can put together a 2-3 record with this deck or something like that and do the thing a handful of times. All right, if you're new here, please consider subscribing if you enjoy the content, and if you're a regular, please throw me a like before this video begins. Those sorts of things support my content for free and really help out with my metrics. All right, let's battle. Okay, round 1 opening hand has no action of any kind. That is going to have to be a mulligan. This is not a good hand. In the words of Brian, Island Ponder Keep, right? We're going to kind of hope that we can string together something reasonable with this hand. If our opponent is playing a deck... Ooh, okay, we're probably playing against some sort of blue splashing land build. Alright, good to know. Moon Circuit Hacker. We have some nice tools here. I need mana to deploy my stuff. Sure. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and take both of these lands. Yeah. I'm good with this. It's unfortunate that I can't, like, both Changeling, Outcast, and Thoughtseize next turn, just kind of, like, due to the way my mana has lined up here with having the basic in my opening hand. If I'm going to cast this Thoughtseize this game, I have to do it right now. But, like, there's a very good chance that this just misses. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and get my Changeling Outcast into play. And I'm going to go ahead and fetch the other Changeling Outcast off of the top of my library. So I think my hope here is to assemble the cheesy, like, Blightsteel Colossus win. Because my opponent is going to be very good at, like, blocking these things on subsequent turns. So, like, finding a Brainstorm so that I can randomly dome my opponent for a billion D would be super cool. Actually, what is this? Is this the mill? Yeah, okay, this is the mill land. Alright, get in there, Outcast. And after no blocks, we're going to use Commander Ninjutsu, which is technically not ninjutsu. This may become relevant later in this league for Satoru Umezawa's other ability. Alright, I was not paying attention to what land my opponent played. Alright, that was on me. Alright, that was a fuck up on my end. And note, this is why there is a single copy of Wasteland in this deck, just for the record. In case you thought that looked weird. Alright, so my opponent is going to kind of quickly outpace what I'm doing. Okay. That is crop rotating away the Urza Saga for extra value. Disgusting. They can just, like, turn it into another Urza Saga here. Apparently it's a harder decision than just that. Okay, they're going for Maze of Ith, which is a huge problem. Okay, they're just getting a Spell Bomb here. Which is reasonable. Life from the Loam. Okay, I don't think I'm going to beat, like, Life from the Loam, Urza Saga, Maze of Ith, Pyrite Spell Bomb here. I'll, like, take another draw, I guess, and kind of see if things improve, but this is a pretty disgusting amount of value from my weak start. Like, Caracas plus Maze of Ith plus Spellbomb just means that I don't really get to do my thing. Yeah, sure. So I eat 4 damage here, going to 15. Next turn I eat 5 damage. Yeah, I think this is a comfortable concession point. Like, I should have gotten 1 card deeper from a Moon Circuit Hacker, but I don't think I'm winning this game. Like, I very much feel not favored here. So, like, a real sideboard should have things like Back to Basics for this, but, like, we're not playing a real sideboard. We're playing a meme sideboard. Okay, so how do I want to approach this matchup? My controlling elements are not really great against what my opponent is doing. Caracas is some bullshit, though. Like, Caracas makes the show and tell plan significantly less good. This is tough. I wonder if, like, because Caracas is good against, like, Satoru, Yuriko, and Emrakul, if I should have chosen a non-legendary, like, another non-legendary creature, like Blightsteel, or my show and tell sideboard plan. Like, Emrakul seems good in a lot of other cases, like, because it has action from spells that are 1 or more colors. So I think this is just a case of, like, a matchup where, like, because we're not playing, like, the extra Wasteland and the Back to Basics that, like, should be in these slots, that, like, we're gonna get super punished for it. Okay. My Thought Seizes aren't great. My Snuff Outs and Brazen Borrower have, like, some utility. Spellstutter Sprite is going to be slow, but I can't cut, like, too many creatures because I still need to enable the Ninja BS some portion of the time. Can I just ignore my opponent's constructs and just, like, intend on Emrakuling or Blightstealing them? If so, I just, like, cut Snuff Out, bring in this package. I keep the Force of Wills to answer crop rotation specifically, or another tutor. And then what 4 cards get cut? Maybe go down some Yurikos? Although, like, Yuriko Emrakul is, like, definitely a thing. Maybe this is a time where I kind of do some trimming. Like, the Satorus are less necessary if I have more show and tells. Let's try something like this. But I don't feel like we have a good approach to this matchup. I'll keep this. Like, we have a theoretical turn 3 show and tell back by force of will. I just have to find a creature. Alright. Let's Vista, grab an island, ponder. Nope. Absolutely shuffle. That's not what we're looking for. Okay, sure. Alright, what do you have? I do not believe that I get to force of will that. Like, I very much need to answer Caracas specifically. Am I wastelanding this Urza Saga? It'll look real bad in the face of a life from the loam. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna kind of hope to draw one of my 8 creatures or one of my remaining 9 cantrips. Okay. F. I can hold up a wasteland to kind of help out with this. But like the Urza Saga tokens are also still going to just like start beating me to death. All right, so here's the Urza Saga activation, which is quite strong. I think I need to crack this fetch land here in response to this trigger because eating a pithing needle on polluted delta would not sinkhole me once, it would sinkhole me twice, and I just like absolutely cannot beat that currently. Okay, Shadow Spear is fine. Other Urza Saga is rough. But like these Urza Sagas have just like dodged Force of Will. Oh fuck. Okay. So GG basically. Am I okay, sure. So basically my opponent could have wastelanded my wasteland and made a Merit Lodge in response, and they chose not to. Alright, they're just going to crash in for 3. That's fine. I mean, Brainstorm's good. I don't know that it's good enough, but it should help smooth things out. I can put back a couple of these Satorus. Oh, fuck. Alright, I guess a Satoru and a Cavern can go back. Very much do not have what I am looking for here. Alright, I don't get to tap out for this, because otherwise, like, I just die to the Dark Depths combo. Yeah, very much at the mercy of my opponent. Like, they can make the Merit Lodge and basically beat me with that, or they can just continue to make Urza Saga Construct tokens that are also just going to beat me. I haven't really put up any resistance here. No. I think this is basically going to be my last turn. Oh, fuck. To be able to draw something before I am just going to be dead. Yeah, that's not really gonna do it, right? That's not really gonna do it. I don't think I'm gonna concede. I think I am dead, but I'm not going to just, like, concede yet. Okay, my opponent is just opting to continue to make constructs. I guess they're, like, just trying to avoid being blown out by a Brazen Borrower, which is absolutely fair. If they've got a Pithing Needle that they can fetch off this Urza Saga, which I find highly likely, then I think this is pretty much the end, because without this Wasteland, I just die to the Merit Lodge token with absolute certainty. Alright, my opponent gave it some thought and is just continuing to beat me to death via Urza Saga construct tokens. I may just die this turn. Or actually, I will, right? This can't block, so they're going to make an artifact. That'll bring this up to 11. They can make another one that brings us up to 13. Yeah, I'm just dead on board, and Pyrite Spellbomb doesn't help with that. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and ship it in there. We're not prepared for this matchup. Absolutely not. So this is a bit of an awkward hand. I have Changeling Outcast, not a Ninja to go with it. I have a single land. I could, like, lead on this, go Island Ponder, but if I miss on hitting my second land, I'm not doing this. Or if I do that and get Underground Sea, I'm vulnerable to Wasteland. I don't know if I'm supposed to keep this one. I think I have more powerful starts than this. That's not it, though. Alright, at this point, I'm going to be keeping the Anemic 5-card hand. That just is what it is. Okay, yeah, I mean, if we're playing against... Oh, we're playing against Painter, sure. Okay. Volcanic Island, not super common here. I am going to kind of go for the throat here and see if I can do something cool. If my opponent can do something busted, they're already going to do that, and I can't stop it. So let's say they have something crazy, like say a Bolas's Citadel or a God Pharaoh statue or something like that. They can discard their hand to LED and just like play any other artifact to weld it in, right? So like if they can do something busted, like it has already occurred. Like it is absolutely a you are already dead sort of moment. I don't know what I'm looking for with this ponder. Um Still think I'm going for this stuff. Do I want the third land? I probably want the third land, right? Third land allows me to hardcast this. Sure. I go ahead and put the Underground Sea on top, draw that, then I'll grab the Snuff Out. I can snuff out the Goblin Welder, and then hopefully it's not too late. Okay. Didn't just, like, immediately get cheesed by something, so that's nice. Or Urza's Saga. We're not good against that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and snuff out and kill this Goblin Welder. We have to kill the Welder, otherwise it just starts, like, bringing the painters and such back. I don't have a lot of time. Like, I need to, like, kill this Painter Servant as a follow-up. Otherwise, this just fetches Grindstone and I'm dead. Okay, that worked. I'm gonna go ahead and hold up Sprite. But, like, this is one of those situations where, like, I've already lost this one unless I draw something great here. Freya's Apprentice. This is the thing that makes a Thopter? Sure. Can't counter that right now. Okay. So you get your Thopter, which is annoying because Spellstrutter Sprite now can't attack in, which eliminates a bunch of my outs. I'm at 15. Go ahead and go to my turn. I'm not even going to play this since it just gets walled by this. Let's see if we can put together something that works. That's not bad. So I will go ahead and snuff out this Painter. I think I'll wait, though. Waiting opens up a Red Elemental Blast for being good, but potentially, like, I make my opponent lose their LED. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and call it a turn there. Actually, I guess Red Elemental Blast isn't an out, right? I have a Spellstrutter Sprite. Okay, so they're going for the Construct. Guess I need to fetch, so I can't get Pithing Needled here. I don't think I'm going to play around the game 1 Blood Moon. Although that's something I need to respect in post-sideboard games. Okay, there's the Grindstone. Sure. I'm also just going to lose to the Construct here. So, like, I'll take my 2 damage, but I'm probably dead next turn. Just, like, completely ignoring the Grindstone portion of the deck. I guess at this point I just put this in play. Okay. So I successfully caused my opponent to discard their hand, meaning I can snuff out and kill that, but, you know, there's kind of a problem with doing that. We're not good against, like, land-based stuff, having cut the second Wasteland and the Back to Basics from this deck for the meme cards. Okay, I don't know. Oh, you can sacrifice the Painter. Sure. Just until the end of your next turn. Sure. Absolutely. Like, okay. Okay. All right. I don't think my traditional game plan is fast enough to keep up with what my opponent is doing. So we're gonna try to do this thing. I think my Force of Wills are gonna line up pretty poorly versus my opponent's Red Elemental Blasts. So I think I'm gonna start by cutting those, despite the fact that my opponent is a combo deck. I think I'm going to go ahead and trim down on these Satorus. My opponent is going to have a decent number of blockers. It's going to be hard to assemble this portion of the equation, and, like, maybe I should just, like, fully go down on those. Just, like, rely on finding a show and tell specifically. That's not the best. But, like, a Yuriko and a hacker. Satoru is not looking particularly strong this league yet. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and start by just putting the Changeling Outcast into play. And we can, like, try to ponder for a show and tell a little bit later if I need to. Like, I would love, love, love to get a Yuriko going as long as my opponent doesn't have, like, reasonably sized blockers. Because, like, Yuriko just funneling me into things like Snuff Out would be pretty cool. Show and tell. Hell yeah. So I'm going to be doing that next turn. So we're going to try to get a Pyroblast out of my opponent's hand this turn. I'm going to go ahead and attack with this. And I'll fetch my basic island. And we'll see if this works. Like, I would be very happy if it didn't, and my opponent used a Pyroblast to answer this card, so that my Show and Tell is much more likely to just resolve next turn. Alright, are we working? Yes, yeah. Oh, it's straight up a Lightning Bolt. Sure. Now, a very funny thing could happen here, where my opponent goes Land, Painter, and then I cast Show and Tell, and they put in a Grindstone, and then, like, activate it and try to kill me with LED. Alright, Goblin Engineer, you got it. Ensnaring Bridge is a problem if my opponent decides to go for that. Oh, Abrea's Apprentice. You may absolutely go for that. Yeah. Cool. So I guess it's Emrakul, right? Yeah, the Annihilator's probably pretty darn good here. Alright, you've got a Welder. You've got an Engineer. You needed something like an Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, there's the concession. I don't think I'm gonna kind of change my plan here. I think, like, the Show and Tell cheese is the way that we can kind of most commonly win. I could bring in, like, Force of Negations and Force of Wills to try to answer Ensnaring Bridge, though. I think I will actually do Force of Negation specifically, since it exiles. I'm gonna bore out the other two Satoru's on the draw. I just think it's too likely that they're not going to get through. I'm going to be straining my cantrips a little bit, trying to find a Show and Tell. And, like, drawing the Blightsteals and Emrakuls become worse. How hard do I believe in Brainstorm's ability to find me lands and not Brainstorm lock me? I think I believe enough to keep this hand. Like, I have Show and Tell Emrakul in hand with the theoretical ability to answer an early creature if I draw another land. I really wish one of these was a Ponder, though. Sure. This will get your Volk. Oh no, your Plateau instead. Sure. And a Welder, absolutely. Never didn't have it. This thing is not currently scary. I'm not going to snuff out yet. Something like an LED goes on the stack, like, then it's different. Sure. Oh, you kept a one-lander. I can do this on my turn just the same. Cool. Yeah. I'll just pass the turn here. Now I have a Sprite up, or I can end of turn Brainstorm trying to hit my third land drop. I am going to go ahead and do that. It's not that big of a deal if I miss. Which is why I'm willing to do this right now. We'll put back some Emrakuls, huh? Found another Emrakul. So that I don't discard, I'm just going to go ahead and snuff out this now. So my next draw is dead as well. I can consider a main phase Brainstorm. Honestly, I don't really want you to have things that produce mana right now, and I also just kind of want to take some cards out of my hand. So let's just say no to that. I'm going to go ahead and just attack here. I don't know that I want to, like, Brainstorm into a Pyroblast and let my opponent use their mana in this turn cycle. And you may absolutely have your Tormod's Crypt. I am going to go for the end of turn Brainstorm here. Okay, cool. I will put back Emrakul. Play a land. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Opponent goes to 17. And we'll see if my own Show and Tell results in my demise. The opponent kept their hand for some reason, right? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. We've got an awful lot of junk here. Surgical Extraction on Show and Tell. That's very bad for me. Because now these cards are basically dead unless I find a Yuriko. Like a Yuriko plus a Brainstorm so that I could, like, put one of these on top would be pretty ideal. I want to draw, like, Yuriko or Moon Circuit Hacker right now. Alright, so there's a Painter Servant. That's resolving. Opponent just did something real cool. So they selected black with Painter, so my Snuff Out can't actually kill it. which means I am dead to my opponent drawing a land. Hello, Blightsteel. This is not great. So in case you're wondering why this, like, Tormod's Crypt was something that my opponent, like, boarded in and played out, and, like, why they're playing Surgicals, the idea here is that, like, my opponent can activate the Grindstone, and then with, like, all these shuffle triggers instead, they get to, like, with those triggers on the stack, they get to, like, exile my shit, and then, like, my entire library doesn't get shuffled back in. So let's just kind of show how this works here. All right, so notice I have these Emrakul shuffle triggers, right? My opponent fires off a Tormod's Crypt in response, and now basically my entire library has been exiled with the exception of the final Blightsteel Colossus that I am going to draw. So I am dead here. GG's. All right, I can't win a die roll to save my life here, which is kind of a problem when you are playing the Ninjas deck. Playing against Doomsday. Oh, we are playing a mirror. I wonder if we are playing a meme version of the mirror. Like, my hand is pretty reasonable here. Like, I'll play a Sprite on turn 2 at my opponent's end step, and then, like, I can get Yuriko or Moon Circuit Hacker going. But, like, my opponent is on the play here in the mirror. Like, that's very good. And they also had the turn 1 creature when I didn't. Oh, sick, I'm just taking damage? Hey. Cool. So I guess I'm going to select, like, Fairy or Wizard here with this Cavern. Let's do Wizard. That telegraphs what I'm doing a little less. And I absolutely will just take the opportunity to eat a spell here. Like, I know that my opponent did not have, like, a Yuriko to start with. So, like, even though this isn't, like, the optimal brainstorm where they're going to, like, shuffle away and treat this more like an ancestral, I still just want to eat it there. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if my opponent spiked a ninja as their draw for turn. I mean, they fetched like they have. We'll see if they have it. No, which is very lucky for me. I actually think I'm just going to put in Moon Circuit Hacker this turn. Should have made my land drop first. Specifically so that I could replay a Spell Stutter Sprite in response to a, I guess, like a Fatal Push. That was a slip up on my end. Yep. All right, cost myself a card there. All right, so I'm going to end up taking 2 damage this turn. That's fine. And then I am just going to play this uncounterably at the end step just so I can send in Yuriko. Sure. Crash in for my 1. Activate that, bouncing my Spell Stutter Sprite. And just a land, unfortunately. But, like, I have a card advantage machine in play and my opponent doesn't. And I just get to do this thing. This Cavern is feeling pretty damn good. I'm going to go to 13 from this hit here. I will absolutely ponder. This just sets up my Yuriko trigger, like, very well. Oh no. Oh no. You're a spell stutter. Got spell stuttered. Nice. I'll put the Moon Circuit Hacker into my hand. Leave the Snuff Out on top of my library. I don't want to super draw that, though. I want the Moon Circuit Hacker, though. Actually, do I want to shuffle? No, this is fine. Let's just go ahead and Wasteland, nuke that land. Crash in with those. After no blocks, put in Moon Circuit Hacker. I'll put that trigger on the bottom, and then these Yuriko triggers. My opponent takes 4 from Snuff Out, 3 from the Yuriko, and then I draw a card with this. Okay, this is the first game where, like, the deck has actually done its thing. Like, what I'm doing right now feels pretty good. But, like, I'm so bad at interacting versus lands, which is what I've seen in the previous couple rounds. Like, I'm so bad at interacting versus Urza Saga. I have a single Wasteland in the 75, and I'm also pretty bad versus Caracas. Disgusting. Absolutely just fucking disgusting. All right, so I'll send in with these. You're going to hard cast a Brazen Borrower. Okay. I'm going to cast a Spell Starter Sprite. This is counterable. Then I will cast an uncounterable one. Now I have 3 of these things in play. And there's the concession. Okay. All right. Some of my faith in this deck has absolutely been restored here. All right. Now, it's unclear whether my opponent is playing real ninjas or like whether my opponent is just going to be playing like the 75 that Brian was playing yesterday in his video, or I guess 2 days ago now. Like the content creator effect is very real, where like one of the large content creators like makes something and then a bunch of people go like, oh, I want to try that out. So Snuff Out is like simultaneously good and bad because it can kill Moon Circuit Hacker for free, which is super cool. It can kill a Spell Starter Sprite to keep that from countering something. Like, that's super cool. I think my opponent's deck is probably going to be the better version of the Ninjas deck, so I don't think I should play the Ninjas game. I think I should play the Bullshit game. So let's play the Bullshit game. I do want to bring in this other Cavern of Souls to make my Spell Starters uncounterable. So I think this is just going to be too slow here. Although, like, neither one of us really is going to block, right? Okay. What if I take out the Snuff Outs? I do this. How am I looking on slots? That's 62, and I think I will just play the extra land. I'm trying to hit that 3rd land drop, and my opponent has 1 or 2 wastelands, probably. Do I just not want to be Force of Willing? Like, my blue cards that I'm going to be pitching are pretty darn good. Yeah, maybe I don't do that, and I keep a couple of these. Then I have 6 ways of enabling the fatties. Sure. I think I only, like, feel as good about the deck as I did that game because, like, my opponent, like, stumbled for a handful of turns. This is a very respectable opening hand, absolutely. My opponent has mulligan to 5 cards. Alright, what do you got for me, opponent? Okay, I'm very happy that they just, like, mulliganed into just, like, casting a Ponder on turn 1 instead of a Changeling Outcast. Because if they just go, like, Changeling Outcast into, like, a Yuriko or an Ingenious Infiltrator, then, like, they can recoup from that mulligan very quickly. Whereas they're not going to do that by leading on a Ponder. Totally happy with just drawing more land here, by the way. Because like now we just have turn 2 Moon Circuit Hacker while also playing a new Changeling Outcast, which I'm just totally happy with. Caracas. That's pretty good against some of the things in my deck. Just throwing it out there. Go ahead and ship on in. And see if I can successfully do some hacking. I can. Absolutely will do that. And then I will go ahead and just redeploy my Changeling Outcast. Alright. Opponent's on 3 mana. We'll see if they cast something like a Satoru here. Okay. Fuck me. Okay. So, most of my deck is now dead. Let's brainstorm and try to find, like, Show and Tell Blightsteel. There's Show and Tell. Since I have so few ways to actually answer that, Plague Engineer, I think I'm just going to put back 2 ninjas right now. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and preemptively fetch now. So the big thing that I'm going to need to be able to beat is a Brazen Borrower. I'm just gonna try to take this here. Just kind of purely for the sake of using my mana. Anyway, if I Show and Tell Blightsteel like I want to do, Brazen Borrower is going to be one of the few things that can kind of take things out of play. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, every piece of interaction I get out of my opponent now is something that I don't have to play around later. So my outs here are finding Blightsteel Colossus or finding my 1 of Wasteland for that Caracas. Sure. So I'm going to go to 16 this turn. I have a lot of time, and, like, I have Brainstorm Fetch Land. I have Ponder. Let's Ponder. No. No. A second Show and Tell. Okay. So let's Brainstorm then, because I want to throw... Okay, nice. I want to throw away Island plus another land here. That's all fine. I do have basics I can fetch still. I'll just grab an island. And now I get to cast, like, Show and Tell 2 turns in a row and kind of hope that it works out. Cantrip away. I'm not going to be super good at, like, protecting these Show and Tells. Because, like, I've only got so many slots, right? And, like, I didn't want to board in Flusterstorms to protect it, because if I do that, I board out, like, too much of the core of the Ninja deck. But if my opponent's got Plague Engineers, maybe I am supposed to just, like, board out the core of the Ninja deck and just be this, like, slightly awkward Show and Tell deck. Alright, I'm at 13. I think I just cast the Show and Tell. What you got? You may absolutely brainstorm. Are we resolving? We're resolving. Blightsteel Colossus, baby. Please don't put in your own Blightsteel. Ingenious Infiltrator. Okay. I believe at this point, Brazen Borrower is my opponent's only out. You fucking Swords to Plowshares off one Caracas? I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind if you do. Or was that just a check? Like, they thought Blightsteel was legendary. Absolutely. Scry away. Okay, so I think my opponent is closer to a real Ninja's deck than I am. Although, like, let's be real, we probably could have guessed that, right? I will be blocking the Ingenious Infiltrator if my opponent attacks. Seems like they are not going to attack. Okay, cool. Here I come. The opponent can throw 2 toughness in front of this and then attempt to... Oh, no. Okay. So opponent might have actually had an out there. So let's talk through this. So let's say they block with, like, let's say Plague Engineer, and they go to 9 Infect counter. They could have, like, ripped Yuriko, Ninjutsu in Yuriko for Ingenious Infiltrator, and then hit exceptionally well off Yuriko triggers. So I'm not convinced that my opponent was just, like, fully dead there. But I'm very happy that we've done the thing at least once in this league. Alright, so this is not going to be a total disaster. Whew. Hey, if you've made it this far, you're probably enjoying my content. Please consider doing something to support me, whether it's a donation deck list, just clicking the subscribe button, or joining and becoming a YouTube member. If you become a YouTube member, you gain access to my Discord server, and you can hang out with us as we talk about various kinds of scotches, runs of video games like Hades, and the normal Magic stuff. Okay, that's it. Back to the show. I continue to be bad at die rolls, but this is a really reasonable opening hand, right? So I have a curve of Changeling Outcast into put in Moon Circuit Hacker into, like, play one of these, and then, like, maybe we can Blightsteel meme and get a kill that way. Oh no. We are playing against another land-based deck. Like, we have already figured out I can't interact very well with those. Yeah. Alright. Well, hopefully we can steal game 1 before my opponent gets established. JK. Fuck. That was a real good turn 1. Okay. What do you name with this Pithing Needle? What do you name with this Pithing Needle, YouTube comments? Okay. So, folks, we're going to talk about Pithing Needle and Phyrexian Revoker, okay? Pithing Needle does not stop mana abilities. My opponent's Pithing Needle did nothing other than being an artifact. That was not really a reasonable card to name. Oh, Yuriko is a great draw. I absolutely will be doing that this turn instead of Moon Circuit Hacker. Alright, so Changeling Outcast comes in. And I'm going to go ahead and flip-flop it for Yuriko. Come on. Just, like, random Blightsteel on top. Let me have it. Alright. A Ponder. I mean, that is still a reasonable Magic the Gathering card that I'm plenty happy to draw. So my opponent's going to get 2 constructs here that are going to be 5/5s after they fetch out an artifact with Urza Saga. Okay, so there's the second one. A Pyrite Spellbomb. That's a good card to have. My opponent does have the red mana necessary because of Mox Diamond. I'm going to take 5 here, and I can't get through with this turn. But what's my plan? I'm just going to die in, like, 2 turns to these things attacking me. Let's maybe Ponder. I could hit a Snuff Out and then actually get in this turn. So this theoretically lets me do Lightsteel Satoru. I'm dead before that happens a lot of the time, though. I think I'm gonna swing for the fences and try to find Snuff out. Let's continue. Crab Island, play Ponder. Nope, swinging for the fences. That still is not Snuff out. So I'll play a Changeling Outcast and call it a turn. I don't have any evasion here or anything like that, so we're just gonna go ahead and call it there. Yeah, and like my deck is just like very bad at interacting with Urza Saga. The hell? Exile Thraben's Foundry. Target player shuffles their graveyard into their library. Okay, sure. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so they're going to Spellbomb me. I think that's poor timing of a Spellbomb, though, right? Like, they could attack in with these creatures being slightly larger. Yeah, so they miss 2 points of damage this turn by not attacking with these. Or, sorry, by, like, cracking the Spellbomb early. And if I don't block either one, the Spellbomb can just go to my face. So now I'm allowed to keep my Yuriko in play. I'm just going to go ahead and eat all of the damage here. Because if I win, it is off like some sort of Yuriko trigger absolute bullshit. I feel comfortable conceding here, I think. I'll make my attack first. I show them one more card. It's only awkward if I show them Blightsteel. Show them a Yuriko. Yeah, so I can play a creature and then die. Unless they don't attack in with both creatures. Yeah, maybe they leave a creature back. I think I'm fine showing them this. I think this is more likely to confuse my opponent than anything else, right? Like, they've made 2 suboptimal plays so far. They've played a Pithing Needle on a card that can't be properly Pithing Needled, and they sacrificed their Pyrite Spellbomb to, like, get a blocker out of the way that couldn't actually block. Alright, is there any world in which they don't attack with both creatures? No. Then I am dead. GG. So I've already figured out that I'm bad at this sort of matchup. So this is absolutely going to be a time where I just, like, bring in this plan and try to juke what my opponent is doing. I think I'm going to go Force of Wills out. Locked Seas isn't particularly strong. Need to go down some number of these, and then the question is, like, how many Snuff Outs for Urza Saga tokens do I want to play? Like, they're only good versus Urza Saga tokens, but, like, it's not a card that's actually good against Urza Saga, right? I'm going to go down these and try to keep a higher density of my things that enable my, like, oops, I accidentally got a bullshit win plan. It's also possible I should just, like, bring in the Narset as something that lets me select for a show and tell. This hand I don't think does it. I'd rather mulligan. Oh my god. We'll go to 5. This is not great. On 5, though, I'll be keeping this. Blightsteel definitely goes back, and then I think the Sprite is going back. Like, I think you can make an argument for throwing back either one Hacker or the Sprite. The Sprite gives you evasion, so you can fly in over Urza Saga Construct tokens. But I'd rather just have multiple Hackers that I can use to loot towards the cards that I need. And that's what I did not want to see this turn, because now my opponent can actually activate the Urza Saga next turn. And invalidate my Moon Circuit Hacker. Fuck. Okay. Alright. So there... okay. I'm going to set a stop on their draw step. And I'm going to go for a fucking Hail Mary play, folks. So I'm going to let this Sylvan Library trigger resolve. Okay. And since I'm already vulnerable to Wasteland... no. Because I need to, like, be at 3 lands no matter what. Never mind. I am now going to Petty Theft the Mox Diamond back to my opponent's hand. In the world where they do not have 2 lands in hand exactly right now, they are going to miss out on creating an Urza Saga Construct token this turn, which is going to buy me a lot of time. In the world where they have multiple lands in hand, this is not a good line, but I think this is going to be better than me than just bouncing the Sylvan Library. If I bounce the Sylvan Library, like, they just use their mana for the next 2 turns to go Urza Saga token, and then probably just, like, work towards killing me. And I need to drag this game on until I can assemble Show and Tell plus Big Idiot. So, like, there's worlds where this works, and the worlds where this works are very good for me. I'm somewhat surprised that my opponent didn't just, like, immediately take 8 off of Sylvan Library, also just, like, throwing that out there. Okay, so they do have another land. That's fine. I accept the risk that I took. This being unblockable is actually very good here. Like, that means I have the theoretical ability to just get in with a Moon Circuit Hacker next turn. So, here's the token. Oh, no, they copied with a Thespian Stage instead. Sure. Alright, they've taken some damage with Sylvan Library here. So, are you making a construct now? No? I'm so confused about what is happening on the other side of the table. A crop rotation, okay. Are you trying to assemble Dark Depths? Mazavith, sure. Pithing Needle on Polluted Delta, okay. I don't think this scheme was better than just trying to kill me. Nice. Alright. I'll go ahead and attack in with the Changeling Outcast. I think I'm just going to try to do 1 damage here. Because my opponent will Mazavith it. Oh, no, they won't. Sure. In which case, I will just play this then. Actually, do I just want to play Brazen Borrower? Yeah, I just want to play Brazen Borrower. Because then I can just, like, bounce that back to my hand. And then use it to potentially answer, like, a Merit Lodge token or something. I think my opponent... Oh, nope. My opponent put them both back. Okay. That's a little scary. I am going to go ahead and just fetch out another mana source here, I think. Go ahead and play one of these. I think I'm going to make this land drop now because things could get a little weird here. I'm not sure how my opponent is going to react to this attack. I'm having a hard time telling what my opponent knows to do. That makes sense. So, like, I don't know what they know to play around. I'm going to go ahead and fetch here as well. Grab another island or a swamp. Swamp should be fine. I'll have my lands no matter what if I get wastelanded. So I'm going to go ahead and play another Moon Circuit Hacker. Oh, I should have tapped Underground Sea for that shit. Because of crop rotation wasteland. Yeah, that's fine. Or you can have your token. I'll go ahead and draw my card. So I actually don't need to hold up Brazen Borrower mana right now, right? Because my opponent tapped out from being able to activate this targeting Dark Depths. So I can just go ahead and replay Changeling Outcast. Yeah, that should be fine. And we'll see what my opponent does with this Thespian Sage Urza Saga situation. No cards drawn off Sylvan Library here. Okay, they are turning it into an island. All right, and they're grabbing Shadow Spear. So in case you're not sure how this works, essentially this has lost the ability to just, like, be sacrificed. You can crash in for your 4. That's fine. Yuriko. Fuck yeah. Absolutely. How much mana do I want to consume this turn? Because I can get real cute with, like, bouncing Moon Circuit Hackers around. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go ahead and just ship these in. Okay, Thespian Stage is going for the Dark Depths. That's absolutely fine. Like, this was on board, right? Like, I showed my opponent this. I'll go ahead and bounce that out of the way. After no blockers, go ahead and blue-black, return Changeling Outcast, and then I have a lot of fucking triggers. We're going to put the Moon Circuit Hacker ones on the bottom. All right, so Yuriko trigger number 1 resolves, doming my opponent for 1, then for 3, then for 15! Fucking get wrecked! Yes! Yes! Oh, baby. All right. Okay, do I want to adjust my plan at all based on what I saw? I can play Force of Negation if I want. Like, Force of Negation exiling my opponent's potential life from the loams is good. So I think if we get to the point where they're, like, recurring things from graveyard, I'm in trouble if that's already resolved once. I honestly think I only won that game because my opponent, like, was evaluating their role poorly. Like, they were, like, valuing trying to make this, like, recursive thespian stage situation so much rather than trying to just get me dead off their first Urza Saga, which I think would have worked. They also played into my, like, recycled Brazen Borrower that I showed them. But I guess it had been a few turns, so, like, I guess that's reasonable. Other than maybe Satoru, I want pretty much everything that's here. And, like, Satoru plus Changeling Outcast plus one of these things is, like, a way to Maiza win. I think I'm just gonna keep sideboarded as is. This is an awkward hand. I have 0 manipulation, and I am stone cold dead to a wasteland. I don't think I can keep this one, even on the draw. Okay, that's worse. This is also very bad. But on 5, I think I just need to keep. Put back both Emrakul's, and assume if I start, like, drawing things like Show and Tell, I can try to assemble a reasonable game here. I'm... Damn it. What I was about to say is I'm just going to lose to, like, a turn 1 Urza Saga that my opponent can activate on turn 2 with this hand. Yep. I mean, here's to hoping that my opponent, like, does not learn from last game and just, like, kind of plays out. Yeah. And kind of, like, plays out this game in the same fashion where they go for inevitability instead of just trying to kill me. If they try to kill me, I lose. Sure. Land go. So at this point, fuck. With a turn 1 Urza Saga that my opponent just gets to start activating immediately, I think I need to assemble an unfair win. A fair win is not going to do it here. Sure. My opponent is not trying to kill me. And I'm not really complaining here, because, like, that's obviously good for me. But holy shit, if my opponent was just trying to kill me, I would be so fucking dead right now. And instead, I am going to get to try to play a reasonable game of Magic. I believe I am just going to brainstorm right now. Like, I know very much what I'm looking for. I'm trying to assemble Show and Tell plus Fatty, and I absolutely just whiffed there. Underground Sea goes back. I don't want to play that out into Wasteland. And I think Sprite or maybe Hacker is going back. Like, these cards are kind of hard to enable currently. Throw back Hacker. I already have a Yuriko. Yeah. And I think I'm under the gun enough that I go ahead and just fetch and immediately ponder, rather than trying to wait for the selective shuffle next turn. And I am very specifically going to look for either Brazen Borrower or a Show and Tell here. Fuck yeah. Absolutely fuck yes. Alright. We have Show and Tell Emrakul next turn. Okay. So are you going for a Dark Depths? The Tabernacle at Pendrelvale? I like, going to have an aneurysm. I guess I can remove this draw stop. I don't need this currently. Okay, so they're trying to set up this bullshit again instead of just trying to kill me. So about the only thing that's going to beat me here is a Caracas. Prismatic Vista, sure. Mother... Fucker. I'm so upset right now. I'm so incredibly upset right now. Okay. So, Polluted Delta, fetch, get Swamp. For the sake of my mana, I am just going to play this out. Oh, fuck. Caracas thing. So focused on Caracas Emrakul, I didn't focus on Caracas Yuriko. I should have held up Sprite. So I should have held up Sprite, hope opponent taps Caracas, and go from there. Sure. That turns my Prismatic Vista into a mana-producing land. Sure. Flooded Strand is fine. I'll just hold up Sprite and then attempt to get in with Yuriko. I should not ever get in with Yuriko. But we'll see. Okay. That's obviously not good for me. Sure. There goes a Wasteland. That's fine. I'll just, oh god, I have to manually click my colors now. I'll just play an end of turn Sprite. Basically looking for cantrips for... I don't know, cantrips for Wasteland isn't really going to do it. I guess I'm looking for Blightsteel. Ooh, opponent has Punishing Fire in their deck. Sure. Moon Circuit Hacker. If I just hold this in hand for Brainstorm, it's not really going to do anything because my opponent is going to make Urza Saga tokens. I think I'll just hold this in hand. I think I'm also going to skip my land drop. I don't have Force of Wills in the deck currently. Sure. I think my opponent's going to be getting like a Shadow Spear here. They have another Pithing Needle and a Pithing Needle Flooded Strand, like so be it. It still produces a green mana. But I really need this shuffle effect for my Ponders. Opponent milled over a Valakut Exploration. Not surprising. Okay. I don't think you need to waste your mana doing this stuff when you have like double life from the loam to just recur these things anyway. Alright, I'm going to take 5 from this here, which is totally fine. 6 if my opponent taps to create another creature. They are not doing. We'll go to 13. Multiple Moon Circuit Hackers is not really what I want here. So I think this is the point where I just have to like play out some chump blockers to try to make it another turn. And my opponent has all the tools in the world to beat me, right? Like they have Punishing Fire Grove. They've got this if they use their resources properly. Like having that Caracas naturally in hand was so exceptionally lucky. Such is life, right? Okay, my opponent does Dredge. Alright, they're floating mana. Alright, Spellbomb. Okay, so they have the win on board if they don't mess it up. Probably multiple different ways, honestly. Alright, so they're going for the trample route. Thran Foundry, absolutely. Okay, I just get to block properly here. So I can take 9, 11 total. Yeah, absolutely. Not dead yet. Blightsteel, Prismatic Vista. Okay. One has this red mana available. All right. Play towards the lines where my opponent absolutely just bungles this turn. That's not doing it. All right. I can play Yuriko. Yuriko gets bounced. I'm dead. Is there a world where my opponent concedes to an Emrakul that I put in play because I forget it's legendary? These are the sorts of things that I'm currently playing towards. Emrakul. Tabernacle actively helps me. Do you remember Emrakul is legendary? Do they not remember? Oh my god. I could have fucking won this game if I just played Emrakul like 8 turns ago because my opponent doesn't know Emrakul is legendary. God damn it. God damn it. Now, my opponent does also have to miss lethal this turn. So, like, I'm not out of the shit yet. But, holy shit. Sure. Oh, okay. They remembered now. Sure. Alright. GG's. That is a super fucking disappointing loss, though. Oh my god. Like... Alright, I have finally won a dice roll in round 5, and I am rewarded with an automatic mulligan. Oh, why? This hand's also very bad. Like, I can Island Ponder, try to hit a land, like a black land, so I can play Changeling Outcast, and then I still don't have anything to do with my hand. This is another mulligan. Fuck. This is also bad. I needed this to not be Prismatic Vista. I've already gone this deep. Like, I probably have to keep here. Do I want 2 hackers or 2 sprites? Hacker's easier to use right now. I'm going to select Hacker. I need to spike a blue land next turn, or I think I just lose this game to basically any deck. Oh my god. It's another island. Okay, so we're maybe playing against like an Urza Echo Kappa Cannoneer style deck. Yeah, that seems pretty likely. Blue land, please. Okay, so we lost game 1. Hopefully my opponent just murders me quickly with Kappa Cannoneer. And then I can get some pizza. Make up. Like... like... I feel like everything that possibly could go wrong has gone wrong this league. Like, I keep getting paired against Caracas decks. I keep getting paired against, like, land-based decks that, like, I book out some of my good cards, play fun stuff for. Fucking annoying, too. I'm straight up going to main phase play a Spell Stutter Sprite so that I can just kind of use my mana efficiently. And next turn, I can play Moon Circuit Hacker off of Ninjutsu and play a Changeling Outcast. This Caracas is also, like, going to be a one-of in this deck list, right? So, like, am I supposed to play around it? Alright, what do you have? Please don't name Moon Circuit Hacker. Please just name Yuriko. Please just fucking name Yuriko, or, like, Polluted Delta or some shit. Ugh. Cool. Do I kill the Teferi? The answer to that question is probably yes. Alright, attack Teferi. Unblock. Ninjutsu. Cool. Maybe I should have played my land pre-combat so that I could answer something like a Swords to Plowshares, but I expect that my opponent is, like, roughly a mono blue deck. I don't really, like, this is all a little strange. I think I'm just gonna hold up Sprite. Like, I'm confused enough now about what's going on. Like, I thought I knew, and, like, now there's, like, this could just be to enable, like, Dark Depths or something like that to be tapping for mana. Expedition map, no. Like, my opponent knows I have this, though, so, like, they could have a removal spell for my... Nope. Alright, Obero, sure. A lot of strange stuff. The Meat Hook Massacre. Okay. Creature gets -X until end of turn. Whatever creature controls dies. Sure. Yeah. Like, cool. Are you gonna, like, blink this or something? I'll play Changeling Outcast. Take your life. Like, my opponent has gone rather deep into the jank tank. All right, what do you have? King Ballista. Okay. I think I'm supposed to just, like, play this here and then double activate Hacker. Let's go ahead and turn these sideways. Activate this, bounce a Sprite. Activate this, bounce an Outcast. Always yield to these, I guess. Yes, I'll draw my card. Yes, I'll draw my card. Oh my god. Force of Will so that I can counter that Walking Ballista is just batshit insane here. I'm very happy with that draw. Let's go ahead and play a Changeling Outcast and call it a turn. Alright, so this just searches for artifacts, right? Okay, cool. Just making sure that I don't have to deal with this. So there's the Walking Ballista. And there it goes. Like, I'll pay for all three of these. I'm still just dealing 5 damage a turn. I probably just loot these away. I don't know, like, how many Walking Ballistas my opponent is going to have. Cavernous Souls can go away. Satoru Umezawa. The higher toughness creature, which matters for shit like this. Get rid of the Satoru. I think since there's a Tabernacle in play, just do that. And I'm going to go ahead and just brainstorm. I am fine with keeping this Force of Will. Like, if my opponent has another Walking Ballista, I want to be able to counter that, right? Alright, you got Esper Colors. Sure. Golos. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and fetch to clear my library here. Guess I'm going to keep getting basics. And I'll pay for all 3 of my creatures. Wasteland. That's not bad. So I'll ship in for 5 damage. And let's do some looting. I Wasteland and play Changeling Outcast. The theoretical 2-turn clock, but I don't know that that's particularly great. Let's see what else here. I don't need a Polluted Delta. I didn't find a blue card to pair with this Force of Will, which is really what I wanted. I'm going to go land and just nuke that Tabernacle. I don't know what I need to be playing around in terms of, like, crop rotation, Crucible of Worlds, recursion type bullshit. I just have no idea. Like, opponents, like, is very obviously playing a brew. But I don't want to just, like, not Wasteland now and give them one more mana, because Urborg allows Tabernacle to be tapping for mana right now. Alright, another one of those. Alright, there's Golos, which I don't get to counter because I couldn't find a blue card. That means that these become considerably worse. Aha. Alright. So now that my opponent has an Urza Saga in play and my Force of Wills don't do anything, I find the second one for Force of Will. Fucking classic. Let's just yield to that. So, okay, sure. Alright, so they're gonna bounce their Obero so that they can discard it to a Mox Diamond. I'm fine with that. I'm not gonna fire off a counterspell on that. Oh, they had multiple Oberos, sure. Yep. Okay, so they are going to attack in. That means my Moon Circuit hackers can, like, loot, which is really good right now. Although I guess they can't, right? Because, like, this is still happening. Alright. Let's find something to do. I have so many good draws here. Do I take Snuff Out? I can Snuff Out, kill the Urza Saga Construct token. Go down to 8. Moon Circuit Hacker, draw a card. I can't aggro my opponent out since my opponent has Shadow Spear, and I can't answer this Golos because my opponent has Caracas. I don't think this is going to be good enough. I don't know what I'm looking for. I mean, that's something. I can go ahead and bash in for 1. Bring my opponent to 14. Play this out, and pray that my top card is a cantrip or a Blightsteel Colossus. The issue here is that, like, fucking Caracas is in play, so, you know, if my opponent realizes this is a legend, I don't actually get to do this thing. Yeah. This is miserable. Like, I'm playing against the Tabernacle Urza Saga Mox Diamond Meat Hook Massacre deck. Like, oh, I forgot to say Caracas. I think I'm ready to. Yeah, okay. That's just gonna be another Urza Saga. We're done. We're absolutely fucking done. So my game 1 plan felt bad, and if my opponent spikes that Caracas again, my post sideboard plan is also going to feel bad. So that's cool. I think I'm gonna bring in the Narset this time. So, like, this Golos is gonna tutor for this Caracas. Fuck me. Okay. Yep. I think these are going out. I think I'm going to give up on the Snuff Outs. I don't know. Like, I do technically need to get a Golos out of the way, right? I don't know. I need to cut 3 more cards here. I think a lot of my cards are medium. Like, Thoughtseize doesn't take a lot of the cards that I care about. Right? Feels, like, kind of rough, but can counter some things like Expedition Map or Pithing Needle that could be relevant. I think I have to count on my opponent's deck failure rate in order to win here. This Narset is awkward, but, like, Show and Tell feels important, or digging for, or I guess this can't dig for Wasteland. It can dig for cantrips that can dig for Wasteland. I also could board up to the 20th land. Let's just, I guess, go down a legendary creature. Like, my hope here was that I would kind of, like, sneak out game 1, and then, like, I could use this juke to win the game before my opponent can do their thing. Like, they're this Yorion deck, so, like, I literally have no idea what all could be in here. This is, like, absolute bullshit toolbox. Like, the world is definitely their oyster here. I have no idea what I should be playing around, since there's, like, A, brew, B, a Yorion brew on top of that. Alright, come on, Yorion trigger. Holy fucking shit, let's go! Yes! Alright. Faith in humanity restored. Alright. Yeah, do your Mox Diamond thing. Like, my opponent can do, like, it's a fairy bounce sort of thing. Yep, okay. So there goes my Yuriko. I can play multiple Changeling Outcasts, though. Which is really good for me. Because I can straight up just try to kill my opponent next turn by attacking them with 2 Changeling Outcasts and then ninjutsuing in Yuriko. If Yuriko connects, then I get 2 Yuriko triggers, and it's very likely that I will do 2 damage between 2 Yuriko triggers. I also could choose to take a turn off and kill Teferi, but I don't know that I need to do that. What do you have? Okay. So you're going to get... Okay, sure. Alright. Sure. I'm going to go ahead and pay for both of these. Make my land drop, and I am going to attempt to kill my opponent here. Attack you, no blocks, Yuriko, and I just need to end this game before my opponent can continue to do the sorts of things like they're doing. Alright, I showed them the show and tell, which is a little awkward. I think I want that other Yuriko in there after I just dome my opponent for 15. Maybe I go down a sprite. Like, it seems like my opponent is focusing on playing big things. So, like, I can treat some of these as ninja enablers. Like, do I actually just want some of these? Like, Caracas is a problem. I could also just play some number of Force of Negation to stop my opponent's shit, but, like, they have big creatures that I care about, and they have big non-creatures that I care about, so... awkward. Basically, awkward. I'm gonna keep this hand. It doesn't, like, objectively do anything, but it has 2 cantrips and I'm on the draw. Alright, my opponent took 1 mulligan and kept. Okay. As we've established, I'm pretty bad against that. So let's ponder. We're essentially looking for show and tell. We found it. So I will put Force of Will on top. And I have turn 3 show and tell backed by counter magic. It's really fucking tempting to Force of Will this. I'm not going to do it. Okay, Obero. Sure. So my opponent doesn't have Metalcraft, so this isn't on currently. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and make my land drop here. And in response to this Urza Saga trigger, I am going to fetch. I do not want to get Polluted Delta Pithing Needled. Do I want to Brainstorm? Sure. No. No, I want to hold up Sprite. So let's just fetch. Alright, so I have both my colors. Alright, my opponent has gotten Chrome Mox. What the hell is under that? Ethis the Hidden Hand. Legendary spells cost 2 less to cast. Exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard. To get a pseudo Yawgmoth's... what's it? Yawgmoth's Will. Do I care? I do not care. Okay. I'll go ahead and, I guess, put this on Ninja. And cast a show and tell. And I'll put in a Blightsteel Colossus. If you have something that randomly beats a Blightsteel in your hand, like, so fucking be it. It's just a land. Cool. Alright. Can you beat this? I've got Force of Will. That can get Maze of Ith. I need to counter that. Force of Will, I'll pitch Brainstorm here. I don't know that I have ever fought so hard for a 2-3. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Satoru is not really playable. Not once in this entire league did we actually activated this, and we sideboarded it out in most of the rounds. It just requires too much to go right in order to line up. So you need to have, like, a creature that can get in. You need to have 4 mana available, and you need a fatty. Like, so much has to go right in order for this to work. I thought this was going to be janky, but I thought, like, we'd at least get it off, like, once in the league or something like that. But no, not really. I will say that, like, the show and tell side of the equation was fine. And I wonder if, like, a midway point between this deck list and, like, the one that was originally submitted, like, I wonder if that might be fine, like, with the show and tells in the main deck. But like, something that came up this league is that, like, Caracas is very good against the ninjas, and Caracas is also very good against Emrakul, so, like, that portion is very awkward. They're like, I wonder if Emrakul is supposed to be the fatty that's in the sideboard of this exact version of the deck list. Like, there are probably other big dumb things that you can play that you don't have to like worry about being able to hardcast that will win the game just as easily. If you have thoughts on that, feel free to throw them in the comments. This was a clunky legacy deck that was a good idea to test, but now that I've tested it, like, I know, like, okay, we should not play Satoru Umezawa again. And, like, now we know I tested it, so you didn't have to test it. And that's something that I'm very happy to do. All right. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. We had some ridiculous moments in this league. If you did, throw me a comment, throw me a like before you go. Those sorts of things really help out with the channel analytics. Have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya.